Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of That Tribute Band Show. I am your host, Eddie Payne, and today is episode 4, and we are speaking with Tino Sings Tom Jones, the Tom Jones tribute. How's it going, Tino?
Amazing. Thank you. Likewise, I hope.
Thanks for joining me, and thanks. This is a new channel, so I'm trying to build this. Build this. It's not really an empire, but it's build the channel on YouTube, so other venues and other tributes can find out what we're all about, and hopefully get the word out there to some of these lesser known tributes. Um, so, how many people are actually in your band?
This particular show is a 10-piece band. I did a lot of research before doing that. It actually took the better part of a year just doing research, which songs we're going to do. I found out that during Tom's heyday, when he toured the world for many, many years, he used a 10-piece band. So we have the exact same lineup that he did. So, I mean, four horns, full rhythm section, two female background singers. When I have people arrange the music, because I couldn't just go out and buy the music for it, I had to actually hire professional arrangers and composers who actually write the music exactly note for note as it was written in the original version. So when people come to see us, um, essentially we're transporting them back to the 1970s Caesar's Palace showrooms, and you're getting the real deal. It's not our version of them. It's not our take. In fact, we actually have a couple of Tom's members that were in his band that toured with him for years in the band. So it's really a lot of fun.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So, I bet that could get pretty expensive to have the people actually compose the music for you.
I had no idea. Actually, I found someone in the UK online. I really loved what he was doing, and I contacted him. This is before I even started, and to see if I could buy his arrangements. And the guy basically said, I'd love to help you, but these are my babies. They're mine, and I'm very protective. And I understand that now because I actually have to go out and hire somebody. I mean, I don't even, I want to tell you, but yes, each song, and we have about 20 songs, but each song was basically a car payment. It's just ridiculous, but it's all said and done with now. I'm very, very happy with the outcome. But yeah, full on tracks for all 10 pieces.
That's nice. So what are your influences? You have
Uh,
many.
well, clearly, I love the big, powerful powerhouse singers of um, clearly, growing up, everybody was an Elvis fan. So I just loved what he was doing. And then when I got older and I understood music a little bit better, I'm still a hardcore Elvis fan. But I just really just when I understood what Tom was doing, and especially in today's age, where unfortunately singers, anybody can sound good in the studio with all the digital this and enhancement and studio overdubs and and apps, and it was clearly a different world back then. Tom had the chops. Tom has, even today, still has the voice that can rumble glass from 100 yards. It's just, it impressed me because he never needed enhancements or digital any kind. He was just a raw force that you had to experience, and it just really impressed me because he's the real deal. He is the real deal, and we can all pay tribute to him. We can all try to emulate him, but there will never be another Tom, and there will not be another Tom. And like for example, I also follow closely a lot of Elvis impersonators. For example, many of them are very good friends of mine, and you'd be surprised how many thousands there are, and literally tens and tens of thousands around the country, around the world. But you'll be hard pressed to find a handful of Tom Jones tribute artists. It's just a completely different world, and I'm purposely uh, performing the songs that no other tribute artist wants to perform. These are all the tough, high hitting notes, the big power songs.
Right.
I'm attempting them. I hope I do them justice, but I purposely didn't want to just give everybody just like a C plus or a D kind of B average show. I wanted to just go out there and just give it my all.
Right. So where all do you guys tour? Do you travel like throughout the U.S. or do you go international?
Well, here's the funny thing. This show is brand new, uh, literally brand new. We've only had about 3 or 4 shows so far, and we have about a half a dozen more scheduled for the summer. But as far as going forward, absolutely, we're looking at agents to. I'd love to do all the casino tours routes, and that will be just a perfect shoe in for us. But we're doing a lot of concerts and venues, concerts in the park. We're doing a lot of them this summer, for example. But I think casinos and things like that would be perfect for us. So I'm going to have my people also look into things of that nature to different in different states. Anywhere, I'd love to go to Florida. I'd love to have them look at Branson or something.
Yeah,
So it is. It's a brand new.
I think the casino circuit would be great for that genre of band. You could actually probably pull off a residency somewhere if you're lucky, like a mini residency, like 2 or 3 nights or something at the same
I mean
casino.
that would be nice. I mean, I never liked living out of a suitcase, so I don't know if I would enjoy going places and never coming home. I've broken up years ago, broken up a couple of really good touring bands because I just didn't want to leave home. I get homesick very very quickly.
Yeah.
But one nighters and two whatever, yeah, I would really love to do that. And there's a lot of them around here even.
So how often do you guys rehearse? Is it hard to get all you guys together? You all kind of live in the same general area?
Uh, yeah, we all pretty much live within a 40-mile radius, I think. 50 mile, maybe 50 miles. Most of the guys come from LA. I'm in Orange County down South California, but rehearse. We did a couple of rehearsals. We have 3 rehearsals. We're good to go for the next couple of months, and we have another rehearsal scheduled for late summer for the rest of the shows. But it's they're all pro guys. They're all super pro. So once we rehearse, it's in their mind. They make notes and they read the charts and they're good to go.
There's definitely a lot of talent out in LA, so there's no doubt you're gonna be able to find somebody of the caliber you're looking for any kind of band.
Exactly, and it's kind of neat because yeah, in this business, like for example, we had a show scheduled for next month. Uh, the guitarist and the bass player couldn't make it, so I had to have you know fill-ins for both of them. So I have a handful of different substitutes for different for instruments, and that can get tricky. I mean,
Yeah.
God, you're looking at 2 trumpets, saxophone, trombone. It gets hairy, but that's what you have to do.
You had mentioned earlier about you actually had a couple people from Tom Jones's band play with you guys.
Yeah, they're
Have you
in the
ever met
band.
anybody else, or have you met Tom himself?
Oh, I'm telling you, that is the one person, and I've had the opportunity to perform and work with over the years. Just a bunch of different performers and celebrities. So I'm not really starstruck, but he's the only person that I've ever wanted to meet, and not on a superficial level. I don't want to just take his autograph or take a picture with him. No, I wanted to just sincerely to shake his hand and thank him for being my inspiration. Literally, uh, I mean, I don't want to bore you with details, but I started playing accordion when I was 7 years old.
Oh wow.
Being Italian, you kind of have no choice. So my dad was a very popular Italian singer, very popular movies, TVs, tons of recordings, and I played accordion in his Italian band for almost 30 years. I never sang a note. I was far too shy. I never wanted. I wanted to sing, but I was way too shy. I never wanted to get within 10 feet of a microphone. So my dad was a singer. And long story short, I did one day I decided it wasn't my idea. My friends tricked me into singing karaoke one night. And that's how it started. And then I loved singing from that night on. I loved singing, but I've always wanted to. I was going to say, I met and worked with a ton of different people and celebrities, but Tom was the one person that I've always wanted to meet. I still got my fingers crossed, but I've never met him. The closest I got, like you said, was a couple of his musicians, and yeah, it's his keyboard player and his trumpet player, and they have stories, and oh my God, it's just you know, it, it's nice. Though, it was really touching. I remember the first rehearsal we had, and these guys, were in. They've never heard me from. They don't know who I am, what I sound like. And during rehearsal, afterwards, they told me that a couple of the two of them actually started tearing up because I look nothing like Tom. I mean, I'm not even going to try it. I look nothing like Tom, but I sound so much like him that it actually made these guys well up and and just get glassy eyed,
Wow.
thinking it brought them back to when they were working with Tom. So I took that as the highest compliment that I could.
So that brings me to my next question. I guess you are pretty well received by other venues and people that are fans of Tom Jones.
I I had no idea well before it started. Clearly, I had no way of knowing, but yeah, I am so humbled. People are really just, again, not visually, but people are really comparing me vocally to him, and I take that as the highest compliment. Yeah, I'm very humbled.
I know you guys are really new. Have you ever sold out a venue, or what's like the biggest crowd you've played to?
No, right now with this particular show, uh, I think 300. It's They're still rather small venues because they're getting the word out. So it's in its infancy stage.
Yeah,
It's in this. It's just barely starting to get going. But I'm knowing that the public and the critics too. We've had some critics in the audience critique us and write stories on us online and what have you, and explaining the show to people who weren't there, who had no idea what we're doing, and nothing but high praise. And so I think we're actually realizing that this is definitely gaining traction. It has something there, and we got our eye towards Vegas.
that's awesome. Um, what do you think it takes to make a great tribute band? That's something I try to ask all my guests on the
Well,
show. That's like a big
yeah,
question that a lot of people wonder, and I actually wonder myself. I like to try to get people's perspectives on it.
and I think personally. And I, first of all, I'm a huge fan of tribute bands. In fact, sometimes I'd rather see a good tribute band than they're like the original band because they actually try harder to sound to sound like what you remember them to sound like. Um, so yeah, there's a reason why tribute bands are just taking off like wildfire. The last 10 years, for example, for me and my views towards it might be a little different than most people. First of all, you have to have heart. If you're paying tribute to an artist, it has to come from within. You have to feel it within you. You can't fake that. And a lot of people are, I mean, hopefully not too many, but a lot of people are very impressed with the visual. They want someone who can look and act like a particular artist. With me, I'm much more impressed with how they sound. If they capture the essence of the particular artist, even if they don't actually look like him, there's two examples that I can give you, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with me. In fact, I just contacted the agent, one of them, about a day or two ago. I'm not sure if you heard of him. There is a great Neil Diamond tribute artist. He goes by the name of Super Diamond. Now, this guy puts on a great show. He's got a great following, just breaking out all over the place. But he looks nothing like Neil. He doesn't attempt to look like him.
Right.
He dresses nice and bling, but he doesn't attempt to look like him or impersonate him, for example. But he is really good. And and another one is we saw him in concert here a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago when they had the movie, the Freddie Mercury movie that came out,
Yes.
and it turns out that the guy who actually provided the vocals to to the actor, his name, I think his name is Mark. I think it's Mark something. We saw him, and he is probably the world's preeminent Freddie Mercury sound alike. I mean, this guy is spot on, amazing. He comes out in concert, just regular clothes, just a regular looking white guy. And the first thing out of his mouth, and he tells the audience, I'm not coming out, I'm not going to come out here with a mustache or a captain's hat. I'm not going to do any of that. This show is about the music. And it impressed me so much that, in my opinion, he looked nothing like Freddie. He didn't even, the whole band did not even try to imitate uh, Queen, but he nailed it vocally. It was just magic. So that's this thing. So a lot of people, of course, if you have the complete package, if you have someone who looks like him, sounds like him, and sings like him, that's gold. That's the trifecta. But for me, if I can't have all three, I would much rather have someone who captures the essence of their voice. I think that, to me, that impresses me more
Right.
than, I mean, looks is something, yeah, you can enhance, you can alter, you can be blessed with looking like somebody, but I think it's the voice that does it for me.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I've seen several tribute bands, and I'm in a couple, and there's kind of like that fine line. Some bands don't even try to dress like them, like you said. They don't try to impersonate them, but they sound just like them. And
Yeah,
then
it's impressive.
there's bands out there that look just like the original band. They don't sound that close, and there's some that
No,
do both. They sound great. They sound just like the band, and they look just like the band. They got the moves, the stage presence, the whole stage show. I mean, you can really, if people put that much energy into an original band that they put into these tributes, sometimes I think it
yeah,
would probably be huge.
true, true, very true. And when it works, it gives me goosebumps.
Yes, absolutely. What Tom Jones song do you think is your favorite to play when you play out?
Well, my favorite, along with my wife, I always tell the story of how she's the one who actually got me to do this from the beginning. She was my push, she was my inspiration, and she believed in me. So her favorite is a big powerhouse called "I Who Have Nothing." And if you haven't heard it, I'll send you a link. We recorded it, but it's powerful, it's emotional. He hits a very strong note at the end. But people's favorites, I'd have to say, they really react to Delilah. They sing along. It's like the song that they expect to hear. So I always keep it towards the end as an encore.
Right. I'm not too familiar with Tom Jones
Uh-huh.
material, but I've seen and read some reports and just kind of looked at the charts and stuff, and he's pretty huge. I'm gonna have to go back. That's not my style of music per se.
Yeah. Uh,
I'm
he 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 would win you over if you listen to some of his old stuff. Uh, just as just musicianship and just raw power, he would definitely win you over. With his voice he could have easily been an opera star. I mean, he's amazing.
so
Just
he's
power.
so he's past the crooner stage. He's
Oh,
more kind of
he's
like Broadway.
there's nothing really to define him, because he, at the time where he started, there was a lot of singers and crooners, like you said, and vocalists who were just singing the melodies, but this man had just power. He hit those high notes. In fact, there's this one story where he was asked to sing the theme track of the fourth James Bond song movie. It was Thunderball. I don't know if you've seen it, but he sings the title track. And while they were in the studio recording the song, he tells people that he almost blacked out when he hit that final high note. He held it for so long. He closed his eyes and he held it for so long. He said when he opened his eyes, everything was black and he almost passed out.
Oh,
And that was a high B. So, I mean, high B, you're actually reaching into tenor range. I mean, Pavarotti, high B, high C. That's very impressive, and he
yeah.
actually did them. So you can't help when you listen to some of his tunes and you see what he does with his voice. You can't help but just be in awe.
Um, Besides yourself, what other tribute bands are you a fan of, or which ones are you into?
Oh yeah, my I have some. I've been very lucky. I've seen them about a year and a half ago and became close friends with them. So they are my personal friends, and every time they perform locally, we always go see them. They are perhaps, no, actually not perhaps. They are the best Pat Benatar tribute that you will ever see in your life. It's just mind-boggling. The voice on this little petite woman. I mean, she embodies Pat Benatar to the point where she even sounds better than Pat did in her heyday.
Wow.
You listen to her and you close your eyes, you will swear that Pat is actually in the room, and the young Pat is just magic. So they're here. They're from L.A. They're called the Pat Benatar Experience. Uh, Other ones, I've seen them a couple of times, and I'm dying to go see them again. I'm a huge fan of ACDC, and there's a local. I think they're local. I think they're from San Diego. They're called Noise Pollution.
Okay.
Just just amazing. And again, I love tribute bands. I absolutely adore tribute bands. Where we are in Orange County, we have our annual fair, and during the whole fair, they're known for having some of the best tribute bands ever on each night of the week, and we just have a ball watching all these bands. And yeah, so those two have to be right there on top.
I'll have to check them out. It sounds like they got it down.
Absolutely, especially this Pat Brent. And she's so humble and so unassuming. You would never think that this woman is just gifted with I mean, every little inflection, every nuance of her voice just screams Pat Benatar. It gives you chills. It really does.
Do you have any other musical projects besides the Tom Jones project?
Well, for many years, for my whole adult life, I've had a variety dance band. So we do clubs and high end weddings, black tie galas, fundraisers. We do all that, and it's a completely different project. And I've had that. Oh my gosh, 30, 40 years. Uh, it's a variety. We do swing, big band, disco, 80s, Latin music, just a variety of dance music.
Right.
So that's always been there. So this whole tribute thing is completely new and separate from that.
Cool. Sounds like you're staying busy.
That's the key. You have to diversify and just do a bunch of different things. But like going back to what I said earlier, you can't just diversify just for the sake of diversification. You have to actually feel it. And I've always wanted to do this tribute thing. It's always been in the back of my mind, and everything just came together, and it's just materializing now. But it's always been a passion of mine for many, many years, and I'm just so excited that it even just surpassed my expectations. I mean, I knew that people would like it, but when I see people's faces and I see how they react, it's just it just makes it all so worthwhile.
Yeah. So is there any like pre-show ritual that you do to kind of help prep yourselves for the show, or you just walk out on stage, or you give each other high fives, or what do you normally like to do to kind of get yourself pumped
Uh,
for a gig?
I really don't have any. A lot of people think, well, a couple of people who've seen the show who contacted me, and they say, you know, where did you learn? Where did you go to school? Where did you do this? And who's your teacher? I'd love to get involved in this. And it's almost funny because I've had zero formal training my whole life. Literally never sang a note until my early 30s. And for all I know, I don't think I'm even doing any of the right things. I don't do any vocal warm ups. I don't do any preps or plan. I don't go through any periods of vocal rest like a lot of people that I know that do. It's like I must be doing so many things wrong. I don't. I mean, I believe that Tom always was always a proponent of not drinking, not smoking. So I really don't drink. I don't smoke. He's always said that you have to take care of your voice, which is get plenty of rest and drink a lot of water. Those are the two things that he believes very highly, and those are the things that I do. But other than that, I can't really say that there's any kind of ritual or anything. I think if a professional singer, a formally trained singer, looks at my whole agenda and says, "My God, you're doing so many things wrong. What is wrong with you? You shouldn't be singing." But it's working out.
What would you say to the up and coming tributes who are thinking of starting a tribute? Any words of wisdom? Do you think it's worth the time and effort?
Again, it has to come from within. You have to feel it. You have to have a heart for what you do. You can't fake it. People can tell. Um, People can tell if it's not genuine, if it's not coming from within. You're not doing anybody any favors. If you think, oh yeah, I think we should just do this, we can make a lot of money. That's the wrong attitude. You have to feel it. It has to come from within. Every fiber of your being has to just go towards that one particular. No matter what it is, it could, like you said, it could be anything, but you have to feel it. Otherwise, you're not doing anybody any favors, and people can tell if there's no sincerity, it's not genuine. It won't work.
Yeah, I can. Me being a musician in several bands, when I go to see bands, I always look on stage to see if everybody's really engaged. And occasionally, you'll see somebody that they would rather be anywhere but where they are on stage playing. And it's like, well, if you're not having fun, if you're not
Yeah.
totally committed, then you need to find something else to do.
And how can the band? I mean, how can the audience enjoy themselves if you aren't enjoying yourself?
Right.
It's sad. I mean, I luckily there aren't too many of those situations, but when you do see that, it's really sad. It really sad because again, you can't have a good people can't have a good time unless you're having a good time.
That's right. I do
I'm
have.
always having a good time.
I do too. That's the only way. I mean, that's why we do it because we have fun. Um,
Precisely.
I've just got one last question, real quick. Is there anything that you'd like to say to all the Tom Jones fans out there, or even your own fans that are watching right now?
Absolutely. Well, they can. I don't know. Do they have a way of knowing how to get in touch with us?
They will at hopefully at the end of this
Okay.
episode. If you have some links, social
Yeah.
media links, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, website,
Good.
perhaps we can put all those links down in the video description
I'll
so
send
everybody
it to
can.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're even remotely a Tom Jones fan, I guarantee. And again, gosh, without sounding too egotistical or cocky, but from judging from our past experiences, we will win you over. We, luckily the whole band they're just great people. There are no prima donnas. I despise divas. I just don't like that. We're having a genuinely good time. We will win you over if you even think you you might have an interest in Tom Jones. I guarantee that we will win you over. We will have a good time. It's so funny because at the end of the show, I talk to people and they'll say things like, "Oh my God, I never knew that Tom had so many hits," or "I never knew that Tom sang that song." "Oh my God, this is so amazing! I haven't heard that in years." And those are the moments that you live for. It makes it all worth it. It will definitely be a good time.
You got to make it out to the East Coast. We could use the Tom Jones tribute out here.
I will give you the reins. You will be my rep and be my agent, manager. Let's
Actually,
do it together.
I've got some contacts locally that I'll hook you up with off the show here, and we'll definitely stay in touch on that.
Absolutely. That'll be great.
All right. Well, thank you, Tino, and your last name Macchia or Macchia. How do you pronounce that?
Well, just like when you're going to Starbucks and you order a macchiato, it's macchia.
So, Tino Macchia, thank you very much for joining me for that tribute band show, episode 4. And like I said earlier, join the links down in the description. We'll have contacts for Tom, or I'm sorry, for Tino and his project, and go out and see him if you can.
Perfect. Would love to see
Thank you very
everybody.
much, Tino.
Thank you, Eddie. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.